If I sent you a link to this video, you're one of the few people in my life that are struggling right now to make a decision on what God's will is for their life. And there's a couple of things I want you to consider. Last week, a friend of mine sent me a chart, and it was meant to be funny. On top it showed man's will for his life, and it was smooth and it just had a predictable end. And below it said God's will for your life, and it had hills and valleys, and starts out with a mountain bike going over rocks, and it has a lake, and it's got a bridge crossing one of the valleys, and it's got rain, and it looks nasty, but it ends higher than the chart that has man's own plan for his life. It ends lower. So a couple of things I want you to consider. In church today, we were reading out of Matthew chapter 11 about John the Baptist being in prison. And he was in prison, and he was having a hard time trying to decide if this was the will of God, because he was not expecting to end up in a hard place. So he sent his disciples to talk to Jesus and ask him if he was really the one that he was supposed to be following. And in Matthew 11, Jesus tells his disciples that came there to talk to him, he said, "Go show John again those things which you do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk, and the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached unto them." And then he says this, and now he's sending this message back to John. He says, "And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." What he's saying there, he's saying, don't be offended in me, John. I've got you in my will, even though it's hard. And Jesus, in Matthew chapter 4, Satan came to tempt him. But in John 6:38 it says, "I came down from heaven." This is Jesus. "I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him who sent me." So Jesus had a clear mission. So when Satan showed up in Matthew chapter 4, Satan knew that mission was going to be hard on Jesus. He was going to wind up getting beat and hung on a cross and humiliated, but it had a good outcome. It had a higher end than if Jesus would have come here and just had an easy life. So Satan tried to tempt Jesus with an easy, nice path, one full of riches and glory. But Jesus said, "No, I'm gonna stick to the path I'm on." When Jesus was in the garden, right before the crucifixion, he even prayed, "Not my will be done, but thine." He's saying, not my will, not my flesh's will, the thing that's easy. Even if it's hard, I want to accomplish what the Lord sent me here to do. So the two things that I want you to consider, and this is real short, but it's real simple. You've got something in your life that you think the Lord may be calling you to. And the two things I want you to think about is, if you do what you think you're being called to do, will it cause you to violate God's will? Will it keep you out of church? Will it keep you from reading your Bible? Will it keep you from witnessing? Will it keep you from living a life that's a testimony to the world? That's number one. That should be pretty easy. If that thing that you're wanting to go do is going to keep you from doing those things, the Lord's not in it. Okay, this one's the harder one. Is the thing you want to do, will it cause you to abandon a previous commitment that you made to the Lord? Was there something that you committed to the Lord and said you were going to do it, and He put you in a hard place during that time, and Satan comes along and dangles an easier path out there? It's real simple for us to go, well, that must be the will of God because it's easy and it's going to meet all my needs, or it's going to accomplish whatever we have in mind, whatever our expectation is. So before you make that decision, really pray about it. It may actually be God's will, or it may be Satan doing to you just like he did to the Lord in Matthew chapter 4 by saying, if you'll just do this, you get all this, and it's all nice and easy. But at the end of the day, we want to be like the Lord in the garden and say, not my will, but thine be done.